has never been more divided.
But there are ways in which the working class is very united. They are united in hating the billionaire psychos running the economy. They are united in their opposition to the Scrooge McDuck corruption in Washington. And now we're seeing the rise of maybe the most energetic, bipartisan working class coalition that we have seen in a generation, who are all saying in unison, fuck AI data centers.
The backlash against AI data centers is growing, with protests from coast to coast in dozens of states today. The issue uniting many Americans across the political divide.
We don't want this. It is not going to benefit us in any way.
We are not going to pay double the amount of our utility bills. Do you understand that?
Of course, since that is the primary motivator of most people across party lines, on the one hand, you got a Republican in Wisconsin presenting himself as being anti-data center to outflank the Democrat who up until recently was running around talking about how much he loves data centers. The reality of the matter, of course, is both of them are in favor of data centers in the exact same way. That's the beauty of politics. And then people fucking wonder why people are tapped out. I wonder how people have such an apathetic perspective to politics in general.
We don't get anything for it other than we're losing land, we're losing water, we're losing air quality.
Why are you protecting? What are you just
To talk about this more, I reached out to a media outlet whose mission statement is building power for the working class. Since 2021, More Perfect Union has been doing on-the-ground reporting focusing on labor unions, inequality, and corporate power. And maybe no other media outlet out there right now is doing more reporting on the backlash to AI data centers. So I sat down with one of their reporters, John Russell, a West Virginia native, someone who has spent years having real conversations with working class voters, trying to genuinely connect with them in good faith. We talked about the bipartisan coalition forming against big tech.
It's a mask-off moment where people can see what side you really are on.
How he connects with people who maybe don't share his politics.
If they know you're coming from a genuine place, you're not trying to hide something, you're being upfront about who you are, that can kind of set the tone for a conversation.
And as someone from Appalachia, I got his take on the vice president. What is your take on J.D. Vance?
Oh, trash. Trash.
I mean, what's everyone's problem with J.D. Vance?
I think I have the best take on this, and also for people to judge. For places like the Appalachian region, when you see a guy like J.D. Vance or Pete Buttigieg roll into your neighborhood, roll into your town, the factory is going to fucking close down. That's what that means. And those guys can clock that inauthenticity. They can clock that consultant speak from a mile away because they've seen J.D. Vance a million times over, okay? Guys like J.D. Vance or guys like people who just come into your fucking town, they're wearing the khakis, you know the fucking factory is shutting down. They're eliminating redundancies.
Other than all the stuff he says, and does, and is. And of course, his face.
Hurry right away, no delay, stop the day. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad.
West Virginia is one of those states that your hand is a map of it, and it is a middle finger, and it's perfect. So this is West Virginia, Eastern Panhandle.
Okay.
You got Maryland down here.
Yeah.
You have Morgantown. So Wheeling's right here. Okay. This is Ohio. Mm-hmm. I grew up here, but it's like Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all these states, like this area is where like generations of my family's from. The cuts for us there is this place called the Pits. They want to currently build a 3 gigawatt data center on the Pits.
Yeah.
What the Pits is thousands of acres of absentee land, like in the hills, that for decades, like an outlaw dirt bike culture has taken over.
Oh, shit.
East of the Mississippi, if you want to go crazy off-roading, look this up on the internet.
Yeah.
You go to the Pits outside of Wellsville, Ohio. And it's like there are no rules. Nobody knows who owns the land. It's like a dirt bike gang has taken this over.
So X Games meets the Lost Boys from Peter Pan.
And I'm seeing this like, data centers are uniting left and right.
Yes.
In crazy ways.
Yes.
And I'm watching like everybody I grew up with in high school who I saw like send a dirt bike off a cliff, like organizing petitions against data centers. And I'm like, there's something to work with here.
Yeah, totally. High school Johnny Knoxville is like, fuck these AI
get
data
these
centers.
out of here, dude. They'll dismantle it.
Okay. One of the things that I love about the videos that you do for More Perfect Union is you actually go out into the field and you do practical reporting. You are not a cable news pundit sitting on a round table.
This guy has one thing that I will never have, and I'm a little bit jealous of it. He can fucking be one with the chud. I will never be able to be one with the chud in the same fucking way that he can. Like, he goes out there, he's from West Virginia, he speaks the language, he's a real chud whisperer, and I wish I could get a fraction of that, you know what I mean? It's the mullet, you need one? No, not even like Andrew Callahan. Andrew Callahan has too much like Seattle anarchist stink on him. No, this is different.
Basically arguing with someone before commercial break.
Yeah.
I want to chat with you. Let's break down a few words that get thrown around.
Yeah.
In media circles oftentimes. Let's start with rural America.
If you're living in rural America, I think one of the things it's defined by, regardless of where you go, is extraction. Like if you are...
Yeah, you were born in New Jersey, black, white, whatever. If you were born in the Midwest, chud is in your DNA. You can't fake it. Yes. Like, I can only be a studier, a student of the chud. He was born into it, okay? I can only seek to understand the chud. I can never be the chud.
In the middle of the country, like large-scale monoculture agriculture, where monopolies are owning all the inputs. That's kind of the economy that you deal with. If you're in the mountains of West Virginia, it's been the extractive industry of coal. That's rural. If it takes a while to drive to go get groceries, rural. There's all these indicators that fall on a spectrum, from the city center to the suburbs to the exurbs to where it takes a while to get to Walmart. But I would say the extraction economy is a major theme in like the rural coverage that I do. And that always comes paired with, I think of the coverage we did of West Virginia data centers. Like there's such a push to put these things in communities that have already had most of their wealth taken out of there.
Yeah.
They're used to it. And so the next wave of this wealth extraction is something like data centers. And I think that's a uniting thing.
For the people in my audience
Yeah.
who perhaps have family members that voted for Donald.
For the record, that's how you know this shit is capitalism. White supremacy at the end of the day is simply used as a weapon to divide the working class, and it works. It's very effective. But if white supremacy was the primary force that American society was designed around, they wouldn't be fucking white people so hard in West Virginia. Like that. At the end of the day, you can't overcome that. Like you have to recognize it. It's ironic because white supremacy is the primary force that caused West Virginia and the West Virginia whites to basically live in these dire straits, in these dire circumstances. But if there was any sort of legitimate investment by those in positions of power to prop up white supremacist values as anything but a divisive force to dominate the working class, then these rural whites would not be living in these sorts of circumstances. Right? That's what a lot of people fail to comprehend about the That's what a lot of people fail to comprehend about like the ultimate purpose of white supremacy serves. It is a tool. Okay? It is a tool. Okay, but that's a point of connection. Trust when I say white boys in the dirt build crazy dumb shit. Like brothers in the city jump shit. We know we shouldn't. Every city kid has jumped a car on a bike. Every country kid has jumped a creek on a rust bucket. Yeah. But even think about that. The perception, the broad perception of, like, here's what's interesting, right? Like, the dirt bike dynamic is so interesting because you go to the fucking urban areas in Philadelphia. What are the youth invested in? Dirt bikes. Okay. You go to rural Appalachia. What are the youth invested in? White kids, dirt bikes. They love dirt biking. They love fucking around with dirt bikes and doing dumb shit with dirt bikes. Sometimes quads as well. But the media perception on the dirt bike equation is like when black teenagers are doing it, it's crime that must be punished. When white teenagers are doing it in Appalachia, it's still crime, but they just like kind of go, up. Those are boys being boys, right? So it certainly clouds our judgment, or it certainly changes our perception of the same exact thing that we're looking at. But there's two ways of looking at it, which is, you're unified. Yeah. In the city, it's teen takeovers, right? It's black teenagers being rowdy. But ultimately, people want the same shit. They want to be busy. They want hobbies that they can lean into. And the point I will always push for is, once again, to say that we have not had white supremacy as a fundamental principle in American development, it would be silly. I'm not saying that at all. But to say that that is the ultimate end all be all, the final goal of the American elite class is wrong. There are those who are real believers, right? Elon Musk is one of them, certainly. But not all white folk are treated equally by the white folk that are the elites. And I think the conditions in places like West Virginia resembling Gary, Indiana, shows you that there is still a primary motivation behind this that is more important than like the racial predeterminism demonstrated by, and the racial tribalism demonstrated by white supremacists. I guess the simplest way to look at it is, if white supremacist was the primary focus and it wasn't capitalism, then white neighborhoods in Appalachia wouldn't look the way they do.
Trump and see these people as irredeemable. In your reporting, what would you like them to know?
I think the way that we consume, the way we talk to our family members, first of all, like, check where you're coming from, because if you're just trying to defend a political party, I think you got to go deeper than that to rescue people who are a little too far gone. You have to get back to shared values. And there are a lot of people in Trump country that share the value of wanting to hold it. They wanted to hold the Epstein class accountable. That was the whole thing with their base, right? You can get in there and relate on that thing. But if you're just trying to come in and say your party's bad and my party's good, they're prepared for that. And you got to go on values.
I mean, speaking of values, naturally, you lean a little bit more left, right?
Yeah.
How do you unlock people who have more conservative positions than you?
Bro, I'm telling you, Hassan Minhaj asked, you lean a little bit more left there because, again, he looks like a chud so much that you got to check. You got to check. You just got to check every time. You're like, so what's up? You just got to make sure, the little ocular pat down, just want to confirm you're not going to say slurs, right? I'm so jealous. again, I am so jealous of his chud background. Like I wish I could just for one day be able to hide in the crowd at a fucking state fair or something, you know what I mean? And have people come up to me and be like, hell yeah, brother, you see that big ass pig? You know, look at that hog. Oh, hell yeah.
Is it the mullet doing the work? Is it the mustache? Like, what's
it is?
Like,
it is my.
But you like
it's a little bit of this.
No, you're clearly affable. You genuinely come from a place of curiosity. But what did you find was the way that you connected with people that don't vote like you, or perhaps share the same values that you do?
Well, it does help to look like this, you know. But I did find growing up where I did, before I got hired at More Perfect Union, I worked at a dive bar. Shout out to Johnny's Bar, baby.
Shout out to Johnny's Bar.
And that's where I learned something that helps me in my work all the time.
Let me just be normal. Treat people like people and expect there to be disagreements regardless. And you will be able to unlock so much. That's the major difference is like this dude very clearly grew up in a conservative environment, you know, and worked around conservatives, were around conservatives in general. So of course he's fucking normal. He understands that like people on the internet make it seem like you can't have a normal conversation with the craziest Trump hog, right? You can. I do it all the time. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating experience. I do it all the fucking time. And slowly but surely you get to penetrate their consciousness a little bit. Where like one of the things that I've been doing lately, I'll tell you, this is very successful. And this might help with your chud parents, by the way, chatters. I get a lot of Fox News coverage, right? You know what I tell? You know what I tell the MAGA parents and MAGA folk that I talk to? I'm like, you know, when you're out there and the Democrats hate you and the Republicans hate you, you must be doing something right. After all, you know who else they did this to? Donald Trump. That is fucking catnip. Okay? When you tell your MAGA parents, like, yo, look at Fox News coming after him and look at CNN coming after him, and then you remind them, because they were there. They were there when Donald Trump in 2015 was getting ass blasted by Fox News and ass blasted by CNN and everybody else. If you hit him with that comparison, they would be like, ooh, that's interesting. Double points for reminding people that that happened to Bernie as well. And this is how you win your MAGA parents. Like you can invoke confidence in them. You're right, but it's so fucking stupid. Okay, man, whatever. Okay, Mr. Elitist, who cares? What matters is it works. For your liberal parents, you just show the Fox coverage and that's it. And you go, look at how much Fox is lying about it. For your MAGA parents, you show both the Fox coverage and the CNN coverage and you say, you know who else got hit like this? Trump. This guy must be doing something right. That statement in and of itself holds almost the same level of power as, I want a businessman to run the government like a business. It sounds stupid. It's fucking cringe, but it's effective. Okay?
Time, which is I wear my politics on my sleeve and I don't try to hide that with people. And I think that if they know you're coming from a genuine place, you're not trying to hide something, you're being upfront about who you are, that can kind of set the tone for a conversation. And that's what I always did in Johnny's Bar. Like before I got hired at More Perfect Union, I was making TikToks about like, we should all join together as people in the same boat here and maybe take back some of our power.
I talk left-wing politics in my small town bar with people mostly whose idea of a leftist is the actual devil.
Was there a moment that inspired you to start making those videos? Like what, not to like hero's journey this, but like what was the inciting incident? What was the moment that made you go like, oh, I want to go to the cesspool that is social media and like talk about politics and perhaps reach out to people that feel unheard?
I think I've always been angry about how this billionaire-owned media lied to the people I grew up with. And I've always believed in the possibility of them.
It does work. My personal testimony is getting my anarchist Trump. Anti-tax, how is that possible? Flat earther uncle to look into your stuff? Hell yeah. Yes, I talked to MAGA folks who cried about Charlie Kirk, and I told them Dems and Republicans both hate you. They said Dems hate you because you're not as radical as them. Lamau, leftism works more for Republicans than moderate Dems, unironically. Why hide? Nothing is stopping you from going to a fair. My black ass went to state fairs. No, I used to do it all the time. I used to go to like the gun shows and stuff like that. It's a little bit different now, don't you think? They fucking plastered my face on Fox News every day for the past 6 months. I don't just want to visit these sorts of places. I want to also be one with the people. And there is 0% chance. Like, I will never be able to go to CPAC. I will never be able to go to a fucking state fair and, ask people about their positions and shit like that and get an honest answer. It's always going to be, unfortunately revolve around like who I am as a person. Hank Pecker is dead. Mr. Chudface, my whole family is now fascinated with you, bro. They were all MAGA heads before. Let's go.
Joining together with other people who are in the same boat so that we can end some of this suck that we're currently in. And I was like, there's got to be a way to do this. And everyone's on their phone, so why don't we pump out some stuff and see what happens? Maybe suggest, hey, we should all get together on this.
So this idea of joining together, right?
Yeah.
People talk about coalitions all the time. It's something that you've really focused on. A thing that gets talked about in lefty politics is the idea of building coalitions around the working class.
Yeah.
How would you define working class?
Yeah. Anybody who doesn't make their money from owning stocks. Anybody who makes their money from selling labor. Anybody.
Yeah. And if you want to get really down to it, my attitude on it is like, especially given how much pensions no longer exist. So like retirees everybody has a 401k. Then if your yearly net worth increase broadly is coming mostly from your wages, like overwhelming majority of that is coming from your wages as opposed to capital accumulation, then you're still a wage laborer. If over 50% of your money comes straight from your own labor, then you're still working class, in my opinion. Or at least like you're a wage laborer.
Who, like, if you can't call
selling their own labor. No, I know. The reason why of course, the Marxist definition of proletarian is a wage laborer, someone who sells their labor to a boss. What I'm simply saying is that in this day and age, there are a lot of people who are wage laborers, but also have a 401k. Does that mean they're a capital owner? Because technically they're engaging in capital accumulation. That doesn't matter.
So, Howard Lutnick, you're working class.
Got it.
If something that you say in public moves markets or starts wars, then you might not be working class.
This is the first time I've actually really heard this articulated well this way. You're basically talking about labor that perhaps works for companies. You could work at a grocery store. You could work
describe basic marketing concepts
at a variety of different places. But if you are not part of the equities class, you're part of the working class.
To me, yeah. If you get
chat, notice how he didn't get into dense literature. Notice how he didn't get into dense literature. Another point for being normal. He described it perfectly.
your money by selling your labor, most of your money by selling your labor, to me, you're working class. And I think that doesn't strike people because the assumption is like a white guy in a hard hat. You know, a doctor and a lawyer, you know, we kind of separate that in the pop, but I don't think we should.
Like dentist?
Yeah. Working class, man.
And, and like dude who bags groceries at Safeway, where I used to work.
Yes.
And I was fired, which is some fucked up shit.
You got to tell me.
I thought I was a pretty good employee. I just didn't want to work there, but I did work.
I'm on your side.
I thought I was decent. I didn't want to.
What'd you do at Safeway?
I was a courtesy clerk.
Okay.
Which is I bag groceries.
Yeah.
And
essential work.
Yeah, essential work. And shout out to my boy who got me the position. I still owe you a huge thank you. Shout out to Chris. Thank you for getting me that job.
Way to go, Chris.
I fucked it up. It wasn't, and you vouched for me, and I fucked it up, and I still live with that. But me and Chris are boys. Let me get us back on track.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically saying, hey, my cousin who's a dentist, and plumber.
Was this recent?
There's a connection here.
Yeah, and I think we need to update that now.
Yeah, it just came out. I read it as soon as it came out. But yeah, it's recent from Wall Street Journal.
Because you look at the scale of wealth in America, and we have a trillionaire.
Mm-hmm.
We have a trillionaire. We have close to 1,000 people with $1 billion. You know, for me, I'm always trying to get people to think about the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
Yeah.
1 million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 32 years.
Holy shit.
1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. We have a trillionaire, man. And you think like being a dentist is closer to being the guy with $1 trillion than it is the working class now. It's like to me, in America right now, with wealth inequality as bad as it is, you're all working class. Now, that's not to like flatten the difference between a lawyer and someone bagging groceries. There are differences there. But for the purposes of fixing our problems, which I view as mostly being caused by people with too much money and power making all the decisions, we are all working class.
Politicians always use this phrase, we want good working class jobs.
Yeah.
And they always phrase it like people love their jobs.
Yeah.
I think most jobs suck.
Yeah.
I've done food service. I've worked at grocery stores. I've worked at Office Max, selling printers. All my jobs that I've had outside of comedy pretty much suck.
Does comedy rock?
Comedy I like. Good? I mean, I'm lucky enough to do what I'm passionate about.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel that way too.
But every other job that I had fucking sucks.
I was a stump grinder for 7 years.
Shit. Yeah. Yeah. That takes the cake. I don't even know what that is.
you have like a giant diesel machine and then you blast a tree stump into dust. 7 years.
But why do you have to do that though?
It was good money.
No, but people wanted there's like that stump needs to go.
You'd be surprised at the amount of stumps in America. So like, here's the thing.
That's so funny that Hasan Minhaj is, I guess, such a city boy, as though they don't have that in cities. What do you mean? Of course, man. It fucks up the sidewalk. There's still roots in there. Yeah, you got to take the stump out. It's not just about like chopping the tree down. You got roots. Coastal elite spotted, but like low key, not even. Because I mean, I'm a coastal elite. And cities have trees in them.
And like,
yeah, it fucks up your septic tank. That's another thing that, it's because Hasan Minhaj is in New York. So he probably doesn't. Actually, I don't know where he lives. But I was going to say maybe he doesn't own a home, but he probably does. Yeah, he grew up in Davis, California, surrounded by trees. You should know that. Yeah, his father probably owns a home in Davis, California. How do you not know? That's crazy. Root removal is different, you fucking city fools.
Are you a homeowner?
I own a home, yes.
Okay, a yard of any kind.
We have a yard. We have a front yard. Yeah.
I don't know the situation in New York City, but like if you're owning a yard out there, if you're renting a yard,
sure,
you'll end up with a tree stump in your yard, and then people will go try to like set it on fire, or drill holes in it, or like dig it out. There's no better way to get it out than blasting it out with a diesel machine and someone like me.
Got it. Children must have loved you. Like my son, what you just described. He's 6.
It's very Bob the Builder.
Yeah, he would have fucking loved that. Yeah.
Most of my demographic is just children enthralled by machines.
Gotcha. To get us back on point, what I'm saying is we don't need to romanticize jobs per se.
Yeah.
But what I think we need to focus on is common human dignity.
Yeah.
And the way people are compensated for their labor gives them the dignity to provide for their families, pay for healthcare, send their children to school.
Totally.
If a loved one gets sick, take care of them. Get the bag, take care of grandma, be able to look out for my mom and dad, my sister. If someone's in a bind, I can help them.
I can see that on the bumper sticker right now. Like, get the bag, take care of grandma. Like, and chill.
Yeah. Be able to help my sister out if something bad happens.
Bag.
Yeah. Yes.
Grandma, chill. One of the great things about my job right now is I get to kind of drop into locations and see how things are going there. We did a piece in Italy about worker-owned cooperatives. Because not only do I think we should stop like romanticizing jobs, but we should think about how jobs are organized. Because we're used to one way here in America where most of them suck.
Yes.
And
what's it like in Italy?
So we did a story where like a fifth of the economy in this region of Italy, in northern Italy, comes from companies that are owned by the people who work there. This and I remember we were standing on the floor.
Wait, how does that work?
Okay, so the workers own the company. They can hire and fire their...
Dude, this is like 2016 peak Richard Wolfism, okay? It's so... pro-anarcho syndicalism. This is 2016 era Richard Wolfism right here. Through and fucking through, okay? Mondragon is the Spanish one, sorry. This is Emilia-Romagna region in Italy.
Boss. And like...
Wait, is this like the way the Green Bay Packers are owned by the city or whatever? I never understood this concept.
Yes.
Yeah, it's only actual existing socialism if it comes from the Mondragon region of Spain. Yeah, like Champagne only comes from one region.
Okay, so break this down for me. Please make me
understand. So now I can't see...
Yeah, democracy at work. Democracy at work. We have democracy in government, but the workplace is built with unjustifiable hierarchies. It's like a tyranny. Your boss gets to tell you what to do. Your boss gets to tell you what to do, where to do it, and you spend 80% of your adult life in this undemocratic process. Workplace is like a dictatorship.
I don't know the details of the Packers, but basically a cooperative, right?
Okay.
This is a company like any company you would work for, but instead of being owned by one guy and shareholders and a board, the workers are the shareholders, the board, and they make the decisions to run the company. You can hire somebody to be CEO, and you can also fire them. And it was mind-blowing to me to go over as an American to Italy, stand on the floor of a factory where 2,000 people worked, just like the ones that closed down after NAFTA in the Ohio Valley where I'm from. They got a 2,000 person factory. It's doing manufacturing. It's owned by the workers. And I'm standing there with the boss of the company and 3 workers. And I asked the workers, what would you do if your boss made 300 times more than you make? And they were like, we would fire him. The workers are highly paid. They work in manufacturing. They control who runs the company. They make the products. And then they go sip espresso 4 p.m. and be reasonable.
Yeah.
There are different ways to do jobs.
No, but what's the catch here? Like the way you're describing it, I was like, no, there's a catch though. What's the catch?
there's nothing's perfect.
Okay. How long do you have to work there to be able to vote? Or the moment day one, you're essentially on the quote unquote board?
So this would be a plug to watch the video, because we had a worker who had just joined, all the way up to somebody who'd been there a long time. First of all, you have far less turnover. You have far more expertise.
Sure. Yeah. You've incentivized staying there.
Yeah. And there's a clear path from the guy we were talking to who's 20 years old to spend a short amount of time and become, a worker owner.
Would you say kind of the core tenets of the videos that you work on for More Perfect Union, are they essentially about labor solidarity?
Yeah. It's about strength in numbers. It's about solidarity. It's about different ways to organize the economy and work.
One of the things I hear in media reporting all the time is, here is how the Democratic Party abandoned the working class.
Yeah.
A couple of my favorite criticisms from the left, it's like, well, these companies still rely on outsourced labor from the third world. Okay, dude. Sorry that the fucking workers' cooperative in Italy didn't destroy imperialism, like Western imperialism, single-handedly. And then from the right, the criticism always is, well, cooperatives can exist under capitalism. Why can't capitalist corporations exist under socialism? It's awesome. The point is, who the fuck would democratically organize to be like, yeah, no, we want a king?
What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, that makes me think of...
yet you still live in a society ass take. That's exactly what it is.
Elliott County, we did a piece for More Perfect Union.
Yes. And this was the Emmy award-winning piece that you made about Elliott
County. We won 2 Emmys. And shout out to the whole team at More Perfect Union. Like any video that I'm on, there's a whole team behind that. Josh Hirschfeld-Crowan, Meg Hirschline, Faz, Josh Miller-Lewis. Will go down the whole list. It'd take too long. But Elliott County is the only county in America, this is Eastern Kentucky, it's the only county in America that voted 144 years in a row for Democrats before flipping to Trump by one of the largest margins.
Talk about fumbling the bag there.
They fumbled the bag.
144 years you're running it up. And then to flip your entire base.
But here's to your question. I would say the Democratic Party was responsible for fumbling that bag, because what we found there, of course, a lot of people who voted for Democrats forever and then flipped to Trump. But you can trace through the history of the Democratic Party. It used to be very much FDR, and then it switched to, Bill Clinton and corporate donors, and the Democratic Party that we know today, that we see in a fight with these primaries, in a real contest for the direction, like someone like Zohran Mamdani, or more of what we've been used to. It is the FDR Labor Party that kept places like rural Kentucky voting for it forever, because they knew the deal. You vote for Democrats because they're for the working man. But eventually they lost those roots, and we suffered a pretty large consequence for that of people.
In your reporting, what specifically did the Democratic Party do to betray the working class that made people say, fuck it, I'm changing my vote?
Yeah. Well, I target the Democratic Party a lot, but this really counts for both parties in our politics on the whole.
Sure.
But they just got, we, over the course of getting thousands of billionaires now, both of our parties have just switched to exclusively serving their agenda. I think about this report that came out more than a decade ago from Princeton, I think, where it's like, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. The conclusion of this report was that the American people have little to no control over the policies passed by either party or either administration. So I think you can say about the Republicans that they've always been for corporate control and for the agenda of really large money. But for the long time, you could say that less about the Democrats. And then they started, going for NAFTA and free trade. And in the era of Citizens United, they're relying on corporate donations too much. And you let that happen for years.
Well, aside from corporate donations, is stupidity also a part of it? Because there's this clip of Chuck Schumer from 2016 where he's talking about the Democratic Party's sort of national strategy. And I think about this at least twice a week. Let's take a look.
For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA,